Anatole Kaletsky, Capitalism 4.0, The Birth of a New Economy in the Aftermath of Crisis. Dive into the captivating world of Capitalism 4.0, The Birth of a New Economy in the Aftermath of Crisis by Anatole Kaletsky. Discover how capitalism is not merely an economic structure, but a guiding force promoting freedom, individual rights, and morality. Explore the role of governments, the impact of unions, and the significance of inherited wealth. Delve into the myth of private enterprise, monopolies, and the relationship between capitalism and slavery. Gain insights into how collectivist and altruistic political philosophies have shaped societies, and learn to challenge common misconceptions about capitalism. All in a language that is engaging, insightful, and easy to grasp.
Capitalism, Liberty, and Morality. Capitalism is not only an economic system, it embraces freedom, individual rights, and morality. American society emphasizes the concept of individual liberty as more important than state power. Capitalism does not recognize the socialist notion of a social surplus. Individuals own their bodies, thoughts, and labor products, and anything to the contrary is theft, not a philosophical adornment. Free market capitalism entails enforcing the concepts of liberty and property. Capitalism is unique because it grants freedom, leading it to surpass past economic models. Capitalist-fueled wars are the result of immoral government practices that impel citizens to fight battles. War consumes individuals' lives and strips them of freedom, making them instruments of the political class's power and wealth. The state must exist to defend citizen rights, not to consume their lives. The truth about capitalism. For over 150 years, Marxist ideology has wrongly convinced people that economies require government control. However, government intervention disrupts free markets, creating wealth for the politically advantaged and poverty for the rest. The rise of nationalistic imperialism came not from big businesses but from left-leaning collectivist reformers. Despite common beliefs, government intervention enables monopolies to become coercive. In a free market, monopolies can only exist if they innovate and compete fairly. Governments can prevent free entry and work against the interests of ordinary citizens. In contrast, natural monopolies arise through efficient practices and low prices. Other companies can enter the market and compete with them. The difference between a government and private organization is that a government holds a legal monopoly on the use of force. To retain freedom, individuals must choose between government control and free markets, not between pro-business or pro-labor. The impact of unions on workers. Unions can only benefit their members at the expense of the customers and the overall economy. Government intervention is a necessary precondition for the coercive monopoly of unions. Business institutions instituted many advantages claimed by unions before their formation. Inherited wealth is not necessarily a danger to society, as free market profit and loss would reallocate it to those who can use it productively. The deceitful nature of paper money. The U.S. paper money system allows the government to covertly steal wealth by controlling its supply. With no gold or silver backing, printing excessive money devalues the currency, causing inflation and decreased wealth for its holders. Maintaining currency value is key to trade freedom. Gold ownership negates inflation and offers worldwide trading privileges. The reality of Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution is often criticized for taking advantage of women and children, but this notion may not be entirely accurate. Although factory work was difficult, it provided an improvement from their previous lives on farms. It offered women and children the chance to earn money, become independent, and create new opportunities. To understand the impact of the Industrial Revolution on workers, we must compare their lives before and after the movement to the cities. The role of government in wealth creation. The government is not the owner of resources and wealth, individuals are. The government's imposition of taxes and regulations only spends the wealth created by the people. Prior to government interference, companies competed in the marketplace through honesty and integrity. However, the government's regulations and licensing have shifted the focus from companies' reputations to the government's guarantee. Deficit spending is a hidden scheme to confiscate wealth, and gold presents a hurdle to this process. Additionally, the government's control of the airwaves unnecessarily restricts its use, limiting the potential for wealth creation in the private sector. By recognizing that individuals, not the government, create wealth, we can promote a society that values honest and productive labor. Long-lasting patents. Patents grant inventors legal recognition and financial benefits. However, they expire after a few years, and the government takes ownership. The author proposes that patents should last the lifetime of the inventor and beyond, ensuring that their heirs can benefit from the invention as well. This would align patents with copyrights, which protect an author's ownership throughout their lifetime and beyond. Capitalism and Slavery. The U.S. Constitution's federal system cannot support slavery, leading to its eventual elimination in the country. Capitalism and slavery cannot coexist. The U.S. Constitution established a federal structure that protects states and enshrines individual freedom as a fundamental right, not to be deprived of the fruits of one's labor. Although slavery existed when the Constitution was written, this contradiction became a crisis that led to the Civil War. The U.S. outlawed slavery, and individual freedom became the law of the land. This historical lesson teaches us that a free market economy requires an ethical and just society that values human rights and dignity. Exposing the deceit of collectivism. Collectivist thought is misleading. Using it to gain favor sways people to mistake party boss pronouncements for morality. Communist countries pretend to do the will of the people while conquering the world through force. Free people must denounce their lies and resist oppression. In Atlas Shrugged, John Galt refuses society's benefit unless on his own terms. To protect freedom, free people should resist oppression by removing their talents from collectivization. The dishonesty of collectivist smears. The collectivists' favorite technique is to smear opponents instead of engaging in honest debate. They label them as unpatriotic, selfish, extreme, and oppressive. However, only the government can oppress people, and businesses seem oppressive only with government help. The real extremists are those who would take away freedom. Productive work benefits both the individual and society. Supporting bureaucracy and favoritism is the true selfishness, the true lack of patriotism, and fundamentally dishonest. America's capitalism versus consumerism. In America, the prevalence of consumerism has caused capitalism to take a hit. Consumerism puts the customer first, leading to the false idea that people have a right to consume. The free market provides choices, but producers have no obligation to provide what the customers demand. When people demand that the government provide goods and services, they surrender their freedom. Terms like consumerism suppress freedom by shutting down debates. It's impossible for the state to provide goods and services without taking them from those who produce them. Ultimately, freedom disappears in coerced relationships. Strong states and collective oppression. The book discusses how collectivist states are inherently weak and suppress opposition to exist for the ruling class's benefit, oppressing populations in the name of equality. The states promote consensus as a societal ideal to blind people to their slavery, creating a fiction of agreement and forcing compliance. Instead of protecting property rights and private contracts, the state intervenes in businesses with regulation, taxation, and other forms of interference. The book argues that collectivist mentalities create anti-concepts to destroy ideas and perpetuate oppression. A strong state can survive rigorous political debate, while a collectivist state cannot. The morality of capitalism. The essence of individualism is having the freedom to cooperate with whoever one chooses, without being compelled to surrender personal liberties for others. Religions have failed in this aspect by demanding adherence to groupthink. Altruists condemn inequality, and criticize the wealthy as if by default, they acquired their wealth through immoral means. However, capitalism has made it possible for wealth to be obtained through production, not looting. Although wealth is relative, it is possible to argue that free trade creates a win-win situation for individuals and society. Unfortunately, the public has been defrauded of the truth about self-interest, ownership, top-quality works, and free enterprises. As a result, global government establishments are hastening the end of capitalist morality, ushering in a period of ignorance before the sun rises again on liberty, and humans rediscover and protect their freedoms.
Upon completing Capitalism 4.0, you'll have an enriched understanding of the intricate relationship between capitalism and individual liberty, and the crucial role governments play in its functionality. You'll be able to debunk popular myths about capitalism and evaluate the significance of varying political philosophies that either support or hinder individual freedom. Most importantly, you'll appreciate the value of standing firm in your beliefs and cherishing your rights against potential societal pressures. In a world where misinformation abounds, Anatole Kaletsky's work provides a solid foundation for embrace capitalism's profound moral virtues, and to build a better society for all.